my wife one morning just kept on nudging me to get up, and it was like 5:30 in the morning. I didn't want to get up. She said, El Chapo escaped, and I thought I was dreaming. I really thought it was a dream, and I didn't hear it. And then she kept on hitting me and telling me to get up.
Have you ever been threatened?
Sure, I've been threatened.
Oh, okay.
I think the public is more and more aware of the fact that fentanyl is as deadly as it is. What they may not be aware of is the fact that fentanyl is being laced into other drugs, not just heroin, but also methamphetamine and cocaine, and in some instances, even marijuana. But when you talk about from a business perspective that the Mexican cartels were killing off their customer base, yes, they were. They started adding other opioids as well, like tramadol, to heroin to try to ease it back, but it was already too late. Now more and more we have a user population that has built up tolerance to fentanyl, and they're asking for just fentanyl. They've gone beyond it.
That's how Prince died. I think he took a fake Vicodin, and he thought it was a real Vicodin.
And so they're taking it thinking that it is from a pharmaceutical company, not knowing that it is an illicit market or network that had pressed that into a pill form, added the dye to it, and is selling it in a dark web space. Again, there's no quality control. There's no chemist that's saying, hey, this is this much fentanyl in this pill. Mm-hmm. And so that's where the overdoses are coming from. As far as the DEA is concerned, we do work with China, and we work many of our investigations alongside the Chinese police as well. The Chinese instituted regulation on all variations, fentanyl analogs, as of May 1 this year. Our hope is that we will see a drop of fentanyl coming into the United States. As you mentioned early on, the big pharmaceutical companies, manufacturers, distributors, pharmacies, pharmacists, certainly played a role in overprescribing oxycodone and opioids to the American public. And in this instance with RDC, we didn't want to treat them any differently. We did not want to treat them any differently because they show up in a suit.
But this ends up being a fraction of the huge profits that they get boosted by drug money. Is there no appetite among authorities to jail bankers?
The biggest trend right now that's taking place is meth production, methamphetamine production. Two things that are happening globally. One is cocaine production in the Andean region of South America is through the roof. But now cocaine is more global drug of choice throughout the world. The second thing is methamphetamine production is through the roof. There is no less demand of the marijuana. Each week I read intelligence reports that come across my desk, and marijuana seizures are still happening by hundreds, thousands of pounds all the time, all across our southwest border. It hasn't slowed down the Mexican cartels from pushing marijuana to the United States, not one bit.
What's your response, and it seems like this is increasingly the public sentiment, but what's your response to when you hear a remark like the war on drug is a failure?
So the response is, you know, when we talk about the war on drugs, it was a political campaign from 1971. And so I don't know of any DEA agents today that talk about a war on drugs. What we do is we protect the United States really from foreign hostile criminal organizations that are trying to sell illicit narcotics and that are killing off our citizens.
How's he been able to avoid jail for 30 years being a prominent drug trafficker?
Well, let me say this. When we were pursuing El Mayo was smart enough to know to run. Simple as that. And as soon as he got word that things were happening and the military was moving into Culiacan, he ran for the hills. And he knew to do that. Chapo didn't. He stayed put.
Okay. Talk really quickly about the role of the Mexican Marines. You know, they just been described as secretive and incorruptible, and they've been compared to the Navy SEALs who they train with on occasion. They essentially caught El Chapo or played a key role both times.
And we were thinking about launching on him. I'm sitting at my desk in the Special Ops Division, and I see a picture of Kate Del Castillo, and I see two other individuals, and then finally I see a picture of Sean Penn, and they're all flying into Mexico City. And right off the bat, it's kind of like, are they really going to meet with Chapo? Yeah.
I thought there was a parallel between El Chapo and this heroin dealer from the late 70s named Nicky Barnes, a.k.a. Mr. Untouchable.
You know, the whole point with Kate Del Castillo and Sean Penn was to get his story out there. And so, you know, El Chapo thought he was bigger than Pablo Escobar.
So in the infamous Rolling Stones interview that was published in early 2016, I'm going to quote El Chapo. He said, "The day I don't exist, drug trafficking is not going to decrease in any way at all." So fast forward to January 31, 2019, wrapping up the trial of the century.
The boys have risen on Chapitos. There's no question about it. They've risen to the ranks because Chapo's no longer there. So they are coming down on his interest as well as Chapo's brother and other members of his side of the Sinaloa cartel. But certainly Ivan and Jesus have stepped up.
Some pundits have said that they are threatening the power of the Sinaloa cartel. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Wow. He died in 1985. It's probably the most infamous murder of a DEA agent. He was abducted by members of the Guadalajara cartel. They crushed his skull, I believe, with a tie iron, and they drilled a hole in his head with some kind of power tools.
So he still is an active member of the Sinaloa cartel. He still is into drug trafficking, and he happens to be the person responsible for the death of a DEA agent. That we will not stop pursuing him. He is public enemy #1 for us.
Okay. One thing that jumped out at me, and I was surprised it didn't get more coverage, was based on testimony, El Chapo's connections to the DEA. And there were two former DEA agents who came out on record saying that they secretly met with El Chapo when he was in prison in 1998.
I thought I was dreaming. Which I really thought it was a dream, and I didn't hear it. And then she kept on hitting me, telling me to get up.
For years, Ray loved Eddie Murphy, citing his first stand-up film, Raw, which aired on HBO in 1983, and also the hit follow-up, Delirious, a few years later. Ray also praised the old-school Saturday Night Live stars John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. Currently, Ray's favorite comedian is Dave Chappelle, which confirms to me Ray's good taste in comedy. But Ray must be excited about the news that Eddie Murphy is returning to stand-up for the first time in eons.